just want to remember him. He passed away a few weeks ago, and I'll never forget the way he conducted that meeting that night, and helped us get the resolution on that. So I do want to make a couple of motions, Mr. Chairman, and assuming that Director Ridley Thompson's motion gets a second, I want to on the parking lot on Western Boulevard. I don't think we should make a decision, a final decision today. I think we should leave the option open. The way the staff has brought this to us, it recommends a parking lot and no option for a no parking lot option with the park. I think we should have both options cleared or certified today, or whatever the terminology is. That gives us, ask the consultant who's going to do the preliminary engineering to look at this over the next 6 months, which I gather is the amount of time that roughly the preliminary engineering will take, and give us an opportunity, not just us at the MTA board, but Councilman Koretz and others, to work with the LADOT, Metro, the other bus agencies, and to make sure that we are not squandering an important opportunity. I have been around long enough to know that the biggest complaint we get about our transportation system, our rail transportation system, is that we don't have adequate parking at the stations. This may not be such a station. I'm not 100% sure, so I'm making a motion, that's just a preamble, to
I'll second it.
thank you. That says that the staff I move that the staff include the Expo Westwood Station no parking design option as part of preliminary engineering that will be conducted over the next 6 months, and that the staff report back on discussions with the community, appropriate City of Los Angeles departments, as well as local elected officials, to determine which option would be the most beneficial for the project and the residents of the area. And obviously, we'll be talking to the residents of the area too, and Mr. Jonathan Weiss, who is an important part of this. I'm inclined to want to do the park if we can do it. I just want to make sure that in case it doesn't pan out, that we haven't jettisoned this other.
No, I second it because we need those options. It helps us work it through.
Second motion, thank you, Mr. Rojo. The second motion I want to make, I want to address the Sepulveda Boulevard crossing. Oddly enough, there was I don't think any member of the public addressed the Sepulveda Boulevard crossing. Councilman Koretz did, and I think he hit the nail on the head on Sepulveda. How we do it is another issue, but I think what we need to do now, and I'm not going to read the preamble in the interest of time, but just to summarize, I want to suggest that we do the same thing on the Sepulveda grade crossing as I just suggested on the Westwood parking issue, which is that the staff include the Sepulveda grade separation design option as part of preliminary engineering that will be conducted over the next 6 months. And the staff report back on any discussions regarding additional funding that may be available to fund the Sepulveda grade separation design option. That additional funding does not necessarily have to come from a developer of a neighboring or a distant project. It can come from sources that we identify through any number of possibilities.
Yeah, and I second that because that is the border between the 11th and the 5th district, and it impacts my district as much as it does Mr. Koretz, so I think that's a thoughtful motion.
Those are my two motions. The last thing I want to say is, and I'll just make it as a formal motion, that all of Mr. Koretz's suggestions, the suggestion part of his presentation, be referred to the staff for follow-through and response. Many of those things that he has raised are very legitimate. There are similar issues that were raised when we discussed the draft EIR some time ago, and he's more focused on it and more specific. And I think both he and the board is entitled to a response and give a take on his suggestions. I thought they were very thoughtful. Last thing I'll say,
and I'll second that as well.
Mr. Chairman, this part of town has waited. This part of the county has waited for a long time for this, and the time for acting has come. A delay for 90 days would not be a delay for 90 days. The work has been done. The ground has been prepared. Not everybody's going to agree with it, but we have to move forward. Time is passing us by. Some people mentioned my position 20 years ago on this project, and it is true, 20 years ago, I was not supportive of this project. But, you know, Barbara Tuckman, the historian, had a great definition of the term folly. Folly, she said, is a perverse persistence in a policy that is demonstrably unworkable. And I did not want to be engaging in folly just because I had a position in 1988. Things have changed since 1988. It now takes an hour and a half to get from Ocean Avenue in Santa Monica, on many occasions, to the 405 freeway. I can walk it in that amount of time. I can jog it in half the time. It sometimes takes 2 hours to get from Ocean Avenue to the neighborhood I live in the Beverly Fairfax area. 2 hours to get to downtown Los Angeles. That wasn't the case in 1988. And the people of this county have cried out, and especially this part of the county, have cried out for action on this. The community of Cheviot Hills voted, despite the fact that neighbors for Smart Rail opposed Measure R and urged people in Cheviot to vote no because it would fund this project through their neighborhood. Despite that, almost 70% of the residents of Cheviot Hills voted for Measure R. And they aren't the ones that are here today. Not to diminish the point of view, the legitimate point of view that the opponents of this project have, or the critics of this project have, but we need to put this in some perspective. This project has been embraced by the city of Santa Monica, the city of Culver City, the city of Los Angeles, the city of Beverly Hills, not to mention constituencies throughout this corridor. And this will only be an amenity to the people of the western part of Los Angeles, and it will grow the system as a whole, the regional system as a whole, because the more we can build add on to the system, the more it works for more people. And so the 65 or 75,000 riders you think you're going to have in 2030, my bet is, if the Orange Line was any indication, that figure we're going to reach much sooner, much sooner, because the traffic is going to demand it. The people who said this is not going to solve traffic, they're right. But what it does do is it gives me an alternative to get out of traffic and onto something more efficient. And that's what we offer to the people of the county. So with that, I will stop and thank you, and I'll move those motions.
Okay, thank you. We need did you want to speak?
Can I just say one word?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'm sitting as alternate to Supervisor Ridley Thomas, and I'd like to say, first of all, to Supervisor Yaroslavsky that I'd appreciate the diligence and the civility and the urgency that you've expressed with regard to this decision. Nobody on our camp wants to stall or stop this project. Our concern is, with half of this alignment running through our district, including many of the most controversial aspects of it, the grades crossing policy itself has been a continuing source of controversy since its adoption in 2003. And as we look at that policy, we see it in its detail as a 7-part document. The first 6 criteria are technical calculations of automobile traffic flow, and the 6th and last criterion deals with public safety. And if nothing else, there's a reversal of priorities in that policy. Further in the policy, there seems to be little and generally no mention of pedestrians, of land use, of economic development, of major environmental issues which perhaps didn't exist in 2003, such as climate change. So it is our conviction that the grade crossing policy, which affects much of what we're discussing today, needs a review. The CEO of Metro has agreed to do that review in a 90-day period, and we would simply urge in the motion we put forward that this decision be deferred until that is done. How ironic it would be to approve something today that doesn't meet a policy that we might adopt in 3 months.
Thank you. Mr. Rosen.
Yes, I have great respect to my colleague, Paul Koretz. I will second that motion.
And Mr. Rosenfeld, you have one more.
Do we deal with them serially? It's a different issue on Western.
I understand, but let's get a second on it so we can talk about it. On both?
I don't know the second one.
So you may want to review the one that deals with the parking space.
Well, we